But so you and this guy were together for X amount of time, and obviously you fell pregnant. Like, why was you happy to like get pregnant with this brother when you was kind of iffy from the jump?
It's not so much that it was like that. People are weird. I don't know if we've even got time to speak about this, but you can get with someone, they're one person.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're the
Further
next.
down the line, they're not that person.
They change. Yeah.
I'm not gonna...
Situations change,
for
people
me,
change.
My situation
Sometimes.
was well enough in the beginning when I was with him, we was living together. It was great enough in that instance, for me to say, well, this is my child anyway, whether you fuck off or not.
Mm-hmm.
This was the situation. We lived together. This was the man I was with. So I will raise my baby. If you want to fuck off, then you can fuck off.
Our baby
It
mothers
wasn't like...
Are they planned? Because this is what I'm trying to understand the culture. Do you get what I'm saying?
Ooh,
Mhm.
baby
Because
mums
was
and
your-
baby
was
dads
your
could
child-
my
be
child was planned.
Was planned.
Like my
Yeah.
child
So
was
just
planned.
come
So
back to
like,
this whole
is it
definition
because
thing.
like, do we get this culture of baby mother, baby father because children are not planned?
Ooh, that is a very...
Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's different when you say to me, because I said, I know with my situation, I planned my son. Like, my son was planned. So it wasn't a surprise. I didn't think, oh my God, we got to go and do this and da, 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 da. My son was actually planned. But a lot of the time when people are having these relationships and stuff, when stuff's not planned, it messes everything up.
Actually, that's an interesting point you just touched on, because that's kind of where I was going at when I asked the question, is that what feeds into the culture is just this kind of blasé of just going in and having fun, and then the byproduct is a baby. Because I think now we're starting to understand a lot of the negative connotations that comes with single parent homes and the effects that has on the kid. So with that knowledge, one, why is it still normalized just to have kids willy-nilly? And two, like, if you understand this, is that why is it so simple?
I would say saying having kids willy-nilly is a very vast and
No,
out there
but-
statement, because someone could say I had a child willy-nilly because
But we
I
shouldn't
was
be.
with him
There's a lot
and
more.
then he did all the things he did, so why did I have the kids?
Was it planned?
It wasn't planned, but it was like we lived together in a house. As to that it happened wasn't a shock to anybody.
You were
It
serious
was the next
enough,
step,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It was like that was the next thing to happen.
Majority
anyway.
of the children aren't even planned anyway.
No.
Let's be realistic. No.
But then maybe that's the problem.
That
Maybe
feeds
that's
into the
actually the
culture.
problem.
Because obviously, if we're seeing the breakdown of the nuclear home as a consequence of people just
What
having
is a
kids,
nuclear home?
just like the mother, father,
Because
children.
one thing,
children.
what I'm saying, not having a child planned while being in wedlock is very different to not having a child planned and not being in wedlock. Do you know what I'm saying? Like falling pregnant while you're married is just like, well, you're fucking married. Like, what did you expect was gonna happen?
Yeah.
But why? Because you can live in a household and not be married and have the same dynamic and have a ring on your finger, and then why is it? Why I don't get what is so
It's the
different
it's the
about it.
structure.
Yeah, but
It's the
you can
structure.
have your whole structure and even be engaged to be married and fall pregnant. That's an accident, but use being married is not an accident, but you can be in a worse
But the thing is,
relationship
I don't
state.
believe.
I don't
Okay,
understand
so
it.
that's interesting you say that. Sorry to cut you, but this whole accident thing, like everyone's adults here. If I ejaculate inside a woman,
Chances
9
are-
times out of 10, she's gonna get pregnant.
Yeah.
That's not an accident.
That was the point I was trying to make when you were saying, why did I decide to have the kid? Because how can I not, whether he's a fucking psycho or not, why would I not have the child that I was in? This was the next step. I'm not going to not do that. Why the fuck would I?
So it's not necessarily
'Cause
why,
of them.
it's not necessarily why do you have the kid with. It's like if we know the consequences of raising kids in a non-nuclear family, a non-nuclear home, why are we still?
Tell me what the consequences, because my son has been raised in a non-nuclear home. I don't see any consequences with my child.
Well, of course, and a lot of
You
women
probably
don't.
wouldn't,
That's the
though.
problem.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
How old
yeah,
is he?
but 6.
You probably wouldn't yet.
You wouldn't yet still.
That's an evil thing
Yeah,
to
you-
say.
No, 'cause when I look-
it does take a village, obviously, to raise a child. It's not fair to say, because obviously I do know, obviously, other men that have been raised in non-nuclear homes, that it's obviously, yes, we understand there's struggles for everyone. If you don't know your dad, you're still gonna want to know who your dad is. You're gonna grow up, but everyone has struggles.
But
in
we're
life
seeing a
and
lot of
different
problems pop up in society as a consequence of, and obviously correlation isn't always
example.
causation, but so like.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
No.
but
So like,
example.
there was a BBC study that's saying that 1 in 5 kids are now being born, over the last 20 years, 1 in 5 kids are being born and they're in single parent homes, yeah. And they're saying that based on the studies, they I feel it was called the, what's it called? It was called the millennial cohort, where they took a bunch of kids from single parent homes, and every year they tested them to see how they're doing in terms of numeracy, literacy, depression, all that kind of stuff. Spikes in the kids that are born in single parent homes. So of course you might not be able to see it, but a lot of us seem to have this belief that, do you know what? Even if I have a kid, I can just do it alone, and nothing, and there's no consequences.
And over 70% of the black community specifically, are born in are raised in single parent homes.
And we
So
see the
what
consequence.
type of effects, you said you was raised in a single parent house, what type of effects do you feel since there's such high statistics? Do you feel any of that?
I think now
yourself
as a
growing up?
yeah, but I think as a big man, like I think academically, even when I was doing whatever I was doing, I've always excelled. So I've always looked to further myself. But when I look at like a lot of my friends that grew up in single parent households, like my guys that grew up who were Acts, who are Muslim, a lot of their families stay together. And obviously not just talking about it might be Islam is the factor, but a lot of them, they never got involved in what we got involved in. But now when I'm looking at, I was talking to Eddie about so many of my friends have gone to prison, they've been killed, and they're all from like single parent households. I'm not talking about, I'm talking anecdotes of, because that's just what happened in my life. When I see the things that we got involved in, and now when I see, say, my little brother, he's got two parents there. Some of the things I was doing, my brother could never do.
Don't even imagine it.
Because my mum was so stressed out trying to, like, she raised me and my sister on like 27.5K a year. Like, she was never around with like the way she could never know what we were doing. But to see my little brother, I'm seeing, like everything's doing, where you going here, why are you going there? Exactly, everything is, the whole scope is seen. Then the other thing you see is what I thought masculinity was when I was younger, because, you know, when you get to a certain age, you're not going to listen to your mum. You're seeing older guys from the block who are telling you, like, if a guy treats you in this way, this is how you have to respond. And you're thinking, that makes sense. I respect this guy. This guy's violent, so violence gets you respected. But then when you have a father, your father's just like, whoa, hold on. That's not what actual man is. And when you look at, when you're like young, 14, olders in your block are like 19. What is that? It's not an older, that's still a kid.
That's to me,